and all the conversation that we've been able to have so far. Rett received his bachelor's from the University of Idaho in marketing, and it says that he has extensive experience in managing, building, and marketing websites. About 5 years ago, and they've had incredible success over those last 5 years. Some interesting things that Rett was telling me just a moment ago that he's done in his life that he wanted to be recognized for was as he was in school, he decided he wanted to take a semester and study in Nepal, and that was one of the best experiences he said that he's ever had, and it was very life-changing for him. He grew up in a small town about 15 minutes away from the Canadian border, so he knows what it's like to be cold the way that we've been the last month and a half. He also loves to climb. He climbed Mount Logan in the Canadian Yukon, which is the second largest peak in the northern Americas. And he loves what he does. He's married for 14 years, has 3 kids, and really that's Rett in a nutshell. So we're really excited to have him here and excited to hear everything that he has to say.
I've had the opportunity to get to know Jana Francis a little bit tonight. She, after working for 12 years in the corporate world, decided to start her own business, which is now the Steel Network. And raising 3 kids at the same time, married, actually just finished building a house, which may have convinced her son, instead of moving out and going to Utah State, to go to the local university close to where they live. And some things about Jana: she's addicted to social media. I don't know if you've noticed her up here taking pictures of you guys, but they're probably already on Instagram. Is not quite, almost. She'll be famous. Yeah, it's we were able to ask her a few questions, and she was more than willing to take time to answer questions for some of the entrepreneurs that were sitting at our table earlier, and her experiences getting a website up off the ground. And I think she's got an amazing story to tell us tonight, so we'll let them tell it.
Works. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, cool. Well, thank you for having us. We're really excited. This is actually the first time we've ever done anything like this before, so bear with us as we work through this. But I'm really excited and to tell you a little bit about steels.com and how we created it, why we created it, and kind of motivate you. I don't necessarily think I ever viewed myself as an entrepreneur. I was always, looking back now, I was always doing very entrepreneurial things throughout my life, but I didn't necessarily coin myself as that until the last 5 years. But so just to start with the inspiration of steels.com, I was the director of media for KSL.com, and I had been for, at that point, about 6 or 7 years. And I had my 3rd baby, which was a girl, and my other 2 kids were boys. So I'm off on maternity leave, feeling a little sorry for myself because here I have my 3rd child. I had never been able to stay home with a child before because I've always been primarily the breadwinner, getting my husband through school. He's a chiropractor, and moved to Silicon Valley for 4 years to get him through school out there, which was an amazing opportunity. I learned a ton from the companies I worked for out there, but I really wanted to be home with my child. Was really one of my motivations for starting my own business. And when I went back from maternity leave, having it been 6 years since I had my last baby, so many things change when with that amount of time when you have a baby, as far as, do you put them now, do you burp them like this, or do you put them down on their stomach in bed, or do you lay them on their side? I mean, it's just so many different mentalities and things. So I'm always going to the internet for everything. I was coined at KSL as the .com princess because I was kind of the girl geek that always knew the right place to get the best product online at the best price. And this is when, online shopping was fairly new. I was really, I guess, an early adopter to online shopping, definitely an early adopter to social media, and just kind of anything on the geeky side. So let's see. So I always knew kind of the best place online to get the best deals, and at KSL, I was the one that was basically in charge of creating revenue for KSL.com. And this was in the last 2 to 3 years of my career there. And when I came back from maternity leave, I was looking online for the best place to find all the latest accessories and the latest and greatest way to care for your baby. And I was also trying to find a way to connect with other moms like me that were maybe newly back from maternity leave and had a really heavy career and lots of other kids and a lot of responsibilities. And so I was really overwhelmed, especially at the time, with looking for the cutest stuff at the best deals and scouring the internet, hoping that there's a website that could just spoon feed it to me in small doses every day, because I didn't have a lot of time. And I wanted somebody else to curate it for me, tell me what's hip and cool, and give it to me at a great deal. And I assumed that existed because it just made so much sense to me as a working mom, and I could not find it. So that's one element of starting the company, is that I couldn't find what I wanted, and it was something I was passionate about. Two is that, like I said earlier, when I almost didn't enjoy my maternity leave because I was so focused on the day that I had to go back to work. And I really dreaded it, kind of. And when I pulled out of the driveway to go back to work that one dreaded morning, I mean, I was excited, don't get me wrong, but leaving your baby is just a very unnatural instinct. And so I almost resented that feeling. So I turned it into a positive by saying, you know what, I don't, right now I'm doing what I need to do for my family, but I don't have to be a victim to this. I can create the life I want. I can, I can be in control of my life and create the situation that's ideal for me and my family. So that was really sort of a mental kicker for me that was like, I'm going to do this now because that's what I need to go do, but I can also change it. I can also create what I want for me. And at that moment is when I realized, okay, I need to start, I just need to have my eyes more open to creating something that I can do from home. That was one of my goals at the time, is to work from home. Still want to do that one of these days. But I was able to a little bit in our history of Steels.com. But anyway, so that was really the catalyst for the mentality of I don't need to work for someone else and go to a corporation every single day. And then the idea started to come when I realized I couldn't find what I wanted. So that was the concept, and it started to brew, and it started to brew. And it came to the point where it's all I was thinking about in any spare time I had was, okay, geez, is there a website like this? Trying to find it. Assuming there was. Trying to find even a blog that maybe just talked about, the hot items, but maybe not necessarily sold them. Could not find anything. And so I decided to create it. And I know it sounds really cliche when people are like, I had a dream, and I sat up in bed, and there it was. But I really did sit up in bed, and there it was. I sat up in bed at 3:15 in the morning one night, and the name just came to me, Baby Steels. Baby Steels. That would be so cool. But then I worried, oh no, people would think it's like a kidnapping website. That might be a little creepy, But hey, I mean, that's how you get attention online, is being edgy and different. And so I laid back down. I thought, God, would that be a weird name? And my brain was just tick-tock, tick-tock. And so I had to get out of bed. I didn't have a laptop at the time, so I went all the way down to the basement and turned on the computer, went to GoDaddy.com and bought the domain. Luckily, it was open. But then I realized, if I created a website called babysteels.com that became really popular, then everybody would try to copy me. So I would have to create another website for kids and another website for scrapbooking and all these other things I was happy about. By the end of the night, I owned at least 100 domains that end in steels.com that all started with something cool, gardening, and you'll see at the end of this quick presentation that we own a lot of domains at this point, almost 500. So. And as well as steels.com, which was another dream I never quite thought I would have, but sure do. And so that was a little bit about when I bought the domains. That was in the summer of 2007. Did not start the company until April of 2008. So, because again, the name is the first thing, right? Okay, what am I going to call it? And when that came to me, it was, okay, now what? So knowing that I had a very demanding job, 3 kids, really daunting thing to think through as far as how am I going to start this? When am I going to start this? When am I going to have the time? So I really chunked it up in little bits. I did something every single day, big or small, to take me to the next step. Whether it was simply researching about e-commerce, because I had never been in e-commerce. If it was researching the way, I mean, I remember reading article after article about, how Google was doing testing on iris scans to watch where people were looking on the screens when they were online shopping. And so I learned a lot from that, and that helped me understand where I wanted to put my checkout button and where I wanted to put the products and how I wanted to display the products. And so I really, every day, took one tiny little step forward to get closer to the goal. And a lot of things happened that year that pushed me forward to actually cut the umbilical cord, if you will, with my career at KSL. I was extremely loyal. I had been there a long time, loved my job. People relied on me very heavily, and I relied on them, and I absolutely loved working there. So that, for me, was a really difficult thing all on its own, of leaving a career that I had worked so hard to create, at a company that I loved, and at a property that I was so passionate about. I still love KSL.com. And so that was a big thing for me. But I actually had a really terrible accident. I was at a community service project in the winter of '07, and we were building wooden car toys for kids for KSL as a management team. Long story short, at the very, very last toy of the day, sucked my hand into a little machine, and it was really gnarly, but let's just put it this way, I was in a cast like this for 6 weeks. And, the whole holidays couldn't, had surgery that night. It was kind of a mess. I'm fine, by the way, but I have some definite reminders and no feeling in the top of my fingers here, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to slow down. It forced me to, or it gave me the time to really think through this concept that I couldn't stop thinking about, because I really couldn't. And it gave me the time to really put it all together in my head, how I was going to, what the company was going to mean, what it was going to stand for, how we were going to do business, how I was going to market it. Through that time, I had the logo created. I had the website drawn out completely. It's when I did a lot of research on, how I wanted it to look. And the interesting thing I was mentioning earlier at dinner was that I wrote a lot of the marketing collateral with my left hand while my hand was up in the air. And last night we were rewinding a little bit to go back in time to prepare a little bit more for this, and found that. And it was just funny to see this terrible, handwriting with my left hand. But what was ironic about it is all the words that I wrote back then are the same things that we use today. It's not just a deal, it's a steal was one of them that was written right on that sheet of paper. So it was fun to reminisce. And a little bit about Rett and I is that we are so busy running this business and growing this business that we're always looking forward. We never look back. And we don't often even pause or stop to celebrate success. And so this has been a fun exercise for us, to even just, stop and turn back and go, how did we do this? And, so anyway, it was kind of fun to look back last night and really reminisce a little bit more together about how we got to where we are. And it is kind of like, whoa, that's cool. Wow, we did this. Yay. So anyway, so I did go back to work for KSL. I actually worked there for another 10 months when I was cleared to go back to work, because you have to be able to grip a steering wheel before they'll let you go back. And I did work from home, a lot on my computer during that time when I was out. But again, I was able to really focus on what I wanted to create Baby Steals into. And then fast forward to I am back at work at KSL, and about a week before we started the company, well, actually, no, I should say a week before I partnered with Rett, I went to a baby expo because I figured, how am I going to market this thing? How am I going to get the word out? And there was a baby expo that was coming up, and I knew I needed to be there, but I didn't know how I was going to take 2 days off of work. I requested the time off. The time off was not granted because I had had so much time off over the holidays with my hand, which didn't make sense to me. But called in sick, went to a baby expo for 2 days, and stood there hoping I wasn't going to run into anybody that I worked with. Not that that would have been a big deal, because I legitimately took the time off. But stood at a baby expo for 2 days and marketed the company. All I had was a banner with the logo, a big banner for the booth. I had my flat screen TV with a PowerPoint presentation that was rotating between, it's not just a deal, it's a steal, one new deal every day at 9 a.m. And a few other marketing tidbits that we use. And I talked in person to moms and got 162 names on an email list of moms that wanted to be in the know when we launched. And so that was, I would say, the first and only, at the time, really marketing tactic that we used to get the word out that was not just simply using social media and telling family and friends. By the way, I'm realizing I didn't really even tell you what Baby Steals was, so I apologize. So what babysteals.com is a deal of the day website that sells baby maternity products one at a time. So we have a new steal at 9 a.m. and a new steal at 9 p.m. every day. And it's up for 50% off or more. We partner directly with the manufacturers. There is no middleman. And we partner with them on the promotion. We also buy the product in advance. We only sell products, by the way, no goods or no services. And we have the goods shipped to our warehouse in Salt Lake City. And we ship them directly out there the same day. So we're very different from many of the deal sites that have cropped up since. Babysteals.com really was the first deal site for women, long before Groupon even was in existence. So, so that's kind of a cool little thing. We launched scrapbooksteals.com a year later, and kidssteals.com in fall of 2009, which was about a year and a half later. And last July, we launched the latest steal site in the steals.com family, which is shesteals.com. And that is a website that sells all products for women between accessories, makeup, clothes, cooking stuff, housewares, you name it. Anything that women would love, you can find on shesteals.com. So that's a little bit about the company. But so in starting, I have this expo, really didn't have the website done yet. I had pretty much everything ready to go except for the technology. And I was trying to decide between two different back-end systems what to use. So to tie in Rett to this equation, he was an executive at backcountry.com, and we had two employees that were working together that were tying KSL.com and backcountry.com together to work on a promotion in the KSL classifieds. And I was able to meet Rett when I went with an employee up to backcountry.com, and there's a funny story with that too, because I almost didn't go because all the different salespeople at KSL had to come up with a certain number of appointments every week to, because the more people you talk to, the more that will end up buying advertising. And he asked me, hey, will you go to backcountry.com with me? But it's up in Park City. I said, look, they're a national e-commerce company. They're not going to buy local media. But you know what? I'll totally go with you to justify the time simply because we'll probably learn something from them. And perhaps we could work on maybe some charitable promotions together or something, because at the end of the day, we're two really cool Utah brands. So that's where I met Rett, and it was the smartest thing I ever did. So anyway, I was really impressed with him and some of the things he had said in the meeting. And so over the course of a couple years, and that was probably in 2006, long before I had created the concept for the company, I think. And so we kept in touch over time with the promotions mostly, and he was one of those people that I just learned something from every time we had a meeting, and I just walked out smarter. And one of the big keys of being an entrepreneur is surround yourself with people who are better and smarter than you. And that's one of my big tips. And so I definitely did that with Rett. So we had kept in touch again, and I had run into him before the accident on my hand at a blogging conference. Again, something that I had to call in sick for because the company didn't want to send me to it, and I'm really glad I went to it. It was just simply a local internet conference focused on blogging, and I ran into Rett at that conference again, and I threw out my idea to him. I said, hey, what do you think? I'm trying to find a website that does this. I can't find it. Do you know of any site like this for women? Because he had told me a couple months prior that backcountry.com had some one deal at a time websites that were focused on men and the outdoor industry that did, you know, one thing after the other all day long. Steep and Cheap, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that one. And he told me about those. He's like, yeah, but you know what? They don't make any money. They're really a way that the retail site, the full retail site, sells off excess inventory. And I said, well, I'm not really looking at it like that. I really want to market brands. I want to highlight them in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And I want to tell their story because people like me want to know, want to get curated products spoon-fed to them. And so I want to have somebody else who's researching it and in the know to do the work for me so that I'm always on the cutting edge of what's hip and cool with my kids. And I also want to connect with other moms like me. And he's like, now that spin, as far as being highlighted in front of people, is something I haven't heard before. That is something that I think would be cool. So fast forward to after that expo, that next March, I couldn't, the last thing I had to pick was the back-end technology. And I got a random email from Rett out of the blue saying, hey, so we've got, this is just a forward from a technology provider of software solutions for deal-of-the-day websites. And I ended up not picking it. We ended up not picking it, but it was ironic that right what I was thinking, he actually sent me and said, I don't know where you're at with that idea that you mentioned, but it was pretty cool, and keep me informed, and here's a solution that might work for you. And I was just sitting there going, whoa, is this guy reading my mind? And I hadn't seen him for 4 or 5 months. So I wrote back, I'm like, let's go to lunch. We both had cancellations the next day, so on April 1st of 2008, we went to lunch, and 2.5 hours later, we were full business partners, and we launched the website 28 days later. So I'm going to pass it off to Rett and let him tell you more.
All right, thanks. And so I'll the site, and then what we really want is just to engage with you guys with questions. We had a really good dinner with folks before we got here, and it's always fascinating to hear and answer questions. I think that's a lot more engaging. So I'll just kind of run through a few of these things. So my background, I went to the University of Idaho, and I started out studying mechanical engineering, and then I switched to computer science, and then after 3.5 years, I switched again and got a marketing degree. So in that time of going to school, I actually went to college for over 5 years. A marketing degree is a 4-year degree. I ended up with 61 credits extra that I didn't need, and the main reason for that is that I am the type of person where I love to learn. I love to learn just to learn. I don't know how I'm going to apply it. I really didn't care at the time how I was going to apply it. But I did know that I like to learn, and I like to solve problems, and I like to understand things. So I took courses in real estate. I took ground school to learn how to fly an airplane. I took whitewater rafting classes. I took appraisal courses. I took all sorts of things. I think the one that I'm really still trying to figure out how I'm going to learn is a racquetball class. I'm all right at racquetball, but I haven't quite applied that one yet. But the ones that I did was about appraisal and real estate, for example. So when we got together and we needed to get our first warehouse, negotiating a contract around a warehouse became very easy for me because I was already familiar with most of the terminology. It was a little bit different. I wasn't buying a warehouse. I was just leasing one. But all of the different things that I had done over a span of 10, 15 years really gave me the confidence that I could really do just about anything because I've learned so many different things, and it's very fascinating. So one of the things that I would encourage anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur is to find joy in learning without any specific purpose. Learn everything that you can learn whenever you have an opportunity to learn it, and just know that at some point, somewhere down the road, it's probably going to come in handy. And if nothing else, it can come in handy when it comes to social currency. When you're talking to people and creating relationships with people, the depth in which your conversation usually extends is what you have in common. If you've done lots of things in life, you're probably going to have something in your back pocket that's in common with that person, and you're going to be able to engage on a little bit different level. And that has proven itself for me time and time again. And so the other part of my success is morbid curiosity. I'm just curious how things work. How does that work? You know, why would you do that? That's interesting. And continuing to think and to be curious is what I think is one of the most critical elements of an entrepreneur. There are a lot of people who just simply are not curious, right? And just simply don't like to learn. They maybe want to learn one specific thing, be the best at that thing, and get paid very well to do that thing. Those usually are not entrepreneurs. They're very successful people, but in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be very versatile. You have to be able and willing to not only know a little bit about everything, but what you don't know, you got to be able to figure it out. You have to go through the exercises of figuring things out over and over and over again. You do that a lot, and it gains the confidence that you can figure anything out over time. And part of that came from me studying engineering, understanding the scientific method. You can solve any problem as long as you follow a particular process. Then move into marketing. You know, it changes into, well, you know, once I learned how to program, I learned in a language they don't even use anymore. I'm not a developer, right? It was Pascal. But what I learned was how to, you know, what it was like to be a programmer. And there's developers far better than me. But now I can appreciate them more than most because I can speak their language. I understand what it takes to do what they do. I'm not just asking them to do something that has no relevance to the thought process that it takes a programmer to, you know, really get good specs and build something. So confidence is the next thing that that is really part of my background. I'm a very confident person, but part of that isn't over-intelligence. I put it on here, I said ignorance is bliss, right? Part of being ignorant that's great is that if you don't know, you can't be intimidated. You can't psych yourself out of it, right? I had no idea how complicated this business was going to be or how involved it was going to become. No idea, and that was great because if I did, I may not have done it, right? But the fact that I had no idea and just young and dumb and full of confidence and lots of little things all adding up to, you know, a little bit bigger thing, really, I think, you know, is part of our success. The other thing that I'd say is that anything is possible. Jana and I didn't come from wealthy families. We didn't go to Ivy League schools. We don't have any specific advantage over anybody in this room or anybody anywhere other than being an American. There's a huge advantage there. We have a system and an infrastructure better than what any other entrepreneurs have at their disposal. But other than that, what we do is we work hard. We are relentless. We don't stop. We're persistent, right? We don't give up, and we absolutely don't make excuses. Something that I hear a lot of people do a lot is make excuses. And I'm very clever. I can come up with an excuse for anything. And I have 3 kids, and they're really good at coming up with an excuse for everything. What I urge you to do is resist the temptation to make an excuse. As an entrepreneur, you don't have the opportunity to make excuses. All you do is have the opportunity to say, okay, that's a definite hurdle. Give me some possible ideas. Give me some solutions. If I can't do that, what can I do? Give me some baby steps. And then by the time you start working through those, more information comes available. More your spectrum broadens. And then by the time a month or 2 or maybe in a year later, what you couldn't get your head wrapped around, all of a sudden is right in front of you and makes perfect sense. And so I think that relentlessness is really critical. And I'd say the final thing under that note is don't expect it to be easy. It's not easy. There's a reason why most entrepreneurs fail, right? I don't know what the statistics are. I think it's the high 90s that fail, right? And they don't usually fail because it's a bad idea. They usually fail because it's way more work than they ever thought it was going to be. Part of what we do really well, and the reason why I was really intrigued in working with Jana, is that I found somebody who has a work ethic and a discipline that is very similar to mine. We are very like-minded in that regard. And I didn't know for sure because our limited interaction over a long period of time, but every interaction I had reiterated and gave me more and more confidence that this girl, does what she says she's going to do. She's smart. She's thinking. I have yet to hear an excuse. I have yet to hear a reason why we can't. All I hear is very good questions and very good ideas on something that has never been done before. And all those things, you know, became very interesting to me. The other thing about the discipline approach is that Jana and I, we didn't pay ourselves for the first year that we worked. Most people last about 2 to 3 months. And after about that, you're like, this isn't working. I'm going to go jump ship. I got to go do something else. Most people would not stick with you for an entire year and not make a dime, right? But we did. We made that commitment to each other. And what we said is that we're not going to borrow money, but we're not going to spend money we don't have either, right? We are going to, we're going to use some resources we had. Jana had already, you know, got a few things. She used on her personal credit card. She put the leap of faith out there, but nothing beyond what you could put on a personal credit card. It wasn't a, you know, $100,000 loan from a bank by any stretch. And the ability to just continue to have faith in doing it over and over and over again without requiring an immediate gain is very unique. And entrepreneurs, the good ones, usually have a story similar to that, and the ones that fail usually stopped at about 2, 3, 4 months. And then after the first year, when we actually did make some money, we didn't give it to ourselves even then. What we did is used it to hire our first employee. Our first employee was a shipper because it was the only position in the company that we could delegate relatively easily and relatively quickly without having to do a lot of training and without having to kind of, because we were very busy at the time. We were doing everything ourselves. For part of the time, we were both still working full-time jobs for other people. We were literally moonlighting this, packaging up, doing customer service at 2 o'clock in the morning, doing, you know, orders on our pool table at our basement, standing in line on our lunch break for our other job to take packages to the post office to ship them to orders, like whatever it took, no excuses. We didn't have the ability to print our own postage, we didn't have packaging, we didn't have anything. But all we did have is the relentless pursuit to say, what do we need today, what do we need tomorrow, let's go do that, and keep doing it over and over and over again. And then, shoot, 5 years later, now we've got 70 employees, we've got 30, 40,000 square feet of warehouse, well beyond our garage, you know, well beyond our wildest dream. We didn't set the expectation, we're going to be a public company and we're going to, you know, grow big. What we're going to do is follow this dream, be passionate, figure things out, and see where it takes us. And we're going to keep persistence and just a relentlessness of a commitment to each other. And that if this doesn't work, it's not because we didn't try hard enough. It's because it wasn't a good idea, and somewhere along the way, we'll probably come up with a better idea. Thankfully for us, it was a really good idea because we used the collective wisdom of our experiences from our past jobs to formulate the idea. What we were doing in the past, I come from an e-commerce background. She comes from a media background. This company is a marketing company that combines media and e-commerce in a really interesting way. It takes traditional shopping and turns it into entertaining, right? It takes traditional media and turns it into shopping. And it does it in a way that had never been done before. And so, you know, that's really part of why we've been successful and how we've been successful. The other thing I would say is one thing that we did is we didn't have it all figured out at the beginning. We created a proof of concept and then challenged it and then tried to figure that out. And then when that worked, we did more of that. We've done a lot of things that didn't work, right? A lot of things. But we didn't try to figure out the master plan and all the things that had to happen before we even got started. We just said, what do we got to do today? What do we got to do tomorrow? What do we got to do to launch the site, right? And that we broke that out, and it took us 28 days, right? After that, now, okay, well, what do we got to do to ship a product, right? When we get an order, what now we got to do? And of course, we were planning ahead and looking forward, but not the 5-year plan, not the 10-year plan, not the business plan that I studied in college and took a semester to create. It was more a common sense plan and a trial by fire with a proof of concept that kind of reiterated our confidence in what we were doing. Because if it didn't work, we're not out anything. Move on. But it did work. And not only it worked really well. It worked almost too well. And that's when we were like, okay, so we better double down, right? Now that plan would come in handy, right? So, and we don't necessarily have the master plan. Let's figure it out, and and spent another round of endless sleepless nights working on this over and over, rather than saying, okay, we got a little bit of success. Now let's take a break, slow down, and reward ourselves. Let's get our money out. Let's go to Vegas. Let's do that. That wasn't our approach. What it was is double down, and consistently pursue what it was that we were trying to create. And then time flies, and you end up going through time pretty quick. My final advice, and we'll get back to kind of showing you what the company is really quickly. We're going to breeze through it because you know, if you're not a woman, you're probably not going to shop from our sites. That's okay. If you have children, you probably will. So we'll breeze through that, and then again get right back to Q&A here real quickly. So my final advice for you is very much what Jana said. Surround yourself by people smarter than you. It's hard to do, especially with people who are confident in themselves and really like to you know, have a lot of pride in what they do. It's a humbling thing to surround yourself by people who know more than you do, especially when you're supposed to be the boss, right? When you're the boss, it's hard to have somebody know something more about what you do, but if you don't have those people, it's really hard to take it to the next level. You can run a pretty sustainable business, but it's hard to advance because all of it's coming from you, not the people around you. Learn, then do, then delegate, right? Learn it. Our strategy is a bootstrap strategy. It's not the only way of entrepreneurism. But our strategy is you figure it out, you do it yourself, and then you find a way to delegate it to somebody else and you take on something more. You really got to create value in order to expect sustainability. A lot of people are looking for get rich quick. They want to make a lot of money, but they realize I'm not providing any value to anybody other than to myself by making money. That'll probably work for a little while. It will not work long term, I guarantee it. Somebody will always come in and do it better, faster than you. And what I find that it's easiest to find value is what you love, what you're really interested in, because you live and breathe it, and by default, you're probably the authority on it. And if not, you don't mind learning more about it faster than anybody else, and then you become the authority. And that does create true value in whatever niche it is that you're interested in, or whatever, you know, business model that you want to do. For us, it was internet marketing. That's what we love. And we can apply internet marketing in our strategy to any industry, anything. But we chose this one because it was something that we were passionate about. It was something that hadn't been done, and it was something that fit the glove, fit the mold. The final thing I'll say is execute relentlessly, avoid paralysis analysis. You know, that's the one thing that is really easy to get into when you're in an academic setting, because you're learning to learn and analyze and learn. But when you get out, if you spend that much time thinking about it, you're not getting anything done, and the world's going to pass you up. You got to move pretty fast, and you got to execute over and over. You don't even know if you're right or wrong or whatever. Try, do, execute. Keep trying, keep moving. What Jana said is really critical. What she did, she made a commitment to herself. Before she goes to bed every day, she's going to knock off one thing. I don't care what it is, but every day I will not put my head on the pillow until I do one thing for this new idea in this business to start. And she did that starting in 2007, right? We met and launched the business in 2008. That means every day for over a year, she did at least one thing. And sometimes she'd get on a roll and do 10 things a day. Great. That didn't give you 10 days off, right? One thing every day, no matter what. And the way I know that it's a good enough idea is if it's exactly what she said. If you can't stop thinking about it, no matter what it is, that's your idea. Do that. If you think about it for a day, a week, a month, and then you're distracted, you go do other things, it's not your idea. If there's something that's burning in your head and you don't even really know how to articulate it or what it is, but you can't stop thinking about it, follow that. That will probably create the passion, the value, and all the other ingredients needed to make a successful business. All right, so we'll breeze through this. I know it's on time, and we really do want to get to Q&A. I'll have Jana just breeze through this real fast, and then you guys can ask away.
Exactly what happened for us, which is cool. So steels.com, we were able to acquire that domain last August. So before that, our company-facing name was Steel Network, and that still is the name of our corporation and who our employees work for. But our public-facing domain is steels.com because people are like, what's Steel Network? Is it like, do you guys like sell steel, or are you a construction company? So, but what we truly were was a network of steel sites, and the mission statement for our company is "We send joy." We are very particular with the customer experience. That's one reason why we were able to bootstrap the business without even buying advertising and marketing, which is odd for two people from advertising and marketing to say. We've built this business on how we treat people and how we value our customers. And everyone that works for our company, when they start, gets a presentation from me that is titled "We Send Joy." And then they truly learn in that what the heart of the business is, why we do what we do. And And we send joy to us means a lot more than shipping products that make people happy. It truly encompasses everything in our business, from customer service to the way we display the product. Even if people don't buy something from us, they're still inspired. They're still learning something new every day. So as you know, we have babysteals.com, which was the first website in our family, and then Scrapbook Steals, Kid Steals, and SheSteals.com. And this is what Baby Steals looks like. And again, it was the first deal site for women in 2008. That is scrapbooksteals.com. And again, you can see, very simple, one-page website. Here's the product, and this doesn't scroll down, but it does go for a while. It tells the story of why you want the product and why you should be excited about this brand. And as you can tell on the right-hand side, we market the brand. We link to their website. We have a lot of different social connections. We are very active, as you can see on the top right here for babysteals.com. We're much higher than that. I think we're 232 now, but we have well over 200,000 Facebook fans just for babysteals.com alone. And kidsteals.com as well. That's actually one of my boys right there, a little handsome guy. We do all our own photography, the majority of it. And we do a lot of videography as well. We write our own copy. We truly are a production house for the best way to display products online. This is an example of shesteals.com, which just launched last summer. So essentially what we do, in a nutshell, we create demand through scarcity by offering a limited quantity of hand-picked, coveted name brands every 12 hours, and we put it on sale for 40 to 80% off until it's gone. And we create community-driven commerce that combines entertainment and shopping, as Rett mentioned earlier. But what we really do is we live to connect with our customers. We provide fanatical customer service. We have a really large customer service staff, not because we need that many, but because we want the questions answered really fast. Because I know how moms are. I know how I was when I had a question from an e-commerce site. And one of the first responses we get back from people is, "Whoa, I cannot believe you answered my question so fast." Anyway, and lightning fast fulfillment, that's one of the reasons we take the risk, buy the product, have it in-house before we ever feature it. And in a nutshell, we send joy. We're very different than, is this our real presentation? Okay. All right. I thought we cut all this out. Anyway, what's that? Okay. Anyway, but it's not just a deal, it's a steal, is the mission statement for each individual website. Because there are thousands of places online to get a good deal. Thousands. They're all just one click away, but it takes a lot more than a good price to get a deal online. And when you get a high-quality product with amazing customer service and fast shipping, you truly do get a steal, and that is the basis behind steals.com. And again, most people assume they're getting that there's a catch when they get a deal online. Like, oh, is it going to be broken? Is it a second? Are you going to take 6 weeks to ship it? But at steals.com, we remove it. And this is kind of a visual of what we do. Every single day at 9 a.m., about this many people come to our domains and look directly at our websites and learn and read and discover.
Not just people. There's that many moms with a baby on their hip, right? This isn't just broad people. These are very targeted people. You don't come to Baby Steals without a baby, right? Or a baby in your family. So what that really means is that here you would think that we could be the advertisements running around the side of it, and that would I would equate to a banner ad, right? That you see all over the internet. What we really are is we're the halftime entertainment. We're a little dose of a little bit of a real entertainment in a very concentrated manner, and all eyes on that, and then go on with your day, go on with the game, go on with whatever you're doing. So this is what we found is a great way to visualize really what happens online every day for us. And I think on our peak days, we filled this stadium 5 to 6 times in one day with that many moms coming to the site, all looking at one product. A single-page website with no ads, no competing products can get that much attention from that many people if you have the discipline to do it right.
Yep. And we've now shipped, is it 1.67?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I forget.
Yeah.
Over 1 million orders.
Yeah. Way earlier last year, we shipped our 1,000th order. That was a big internal celebration with our staff. So the future, where are we going to go next? Well, as you can see, this is what I referenced earlier, that we do have a lot of domains and a lot of work to do. And we have a lot of potential. And those were all the female sites that you may see us start. But these are ones that we also own for men. So we're pretty excited. We have a lot to do, as you can see. So feel free to contact us. We have business cards as well up here. Feel free to come grab them. They've got sort of our LinkedIn and social media channels and stuff. But feel free to email us. Those are our email addresses. And now we'll open it up for Q&A.
You said that you wanted to create a community feel where people can go and get answers and stuff like that. It seems to me like you have a one-page website where it's just the product. And then is it just you talk about the product and that's the help that you give to someone each day? Or is there another place where people can go, like a forum or something where people ask questions?
Okay, so we need to repeat it for the people who are not here. So the question is essentially, if you have a one-page website, how are you driving that conversation and giving people the answers to their questions? So a couple ways. And the number one key is social media. We, on purpose, have driven the majority of those conversations off of our website. The number one reason for that is authenticity. When a mom answers a question to another mom about a product, it is a lot more valuable than someone from our company saying it. Does that make sense? Especially at first, when we were building the brand and building the sort of the curated nature of what we do. Of course they're going to think we're going to tell them it's awesome, right? Now, we've got a trusted, established brand where people do know, well, if it's on baby steals or she steals, then it's good. I don't even need to wonder, right? And so we do participate in those questions and answers very frequently as a company. But that was one of the reasons we did it, as well as, especially at the time, Facebook's made a lot of changes with their brand pages lately that have really affected a lot of businesses. But in the early glory days of Facebook, we were really early adopters to that and had a tremendous following, still do. But every time we answered a question on there or someone posted a question on there, we'd show up on their wall, we'd show up on their wall, you know, and all that conversation was very visible to all of their friends, which helped us market our company in just simply doing what we were already going to do. And we quite frankly didn't have the money or the technology yet to build it on our own website. But you will see us making a lot of those changes. We have quite a bit of plans over the next year and a half to not pull it away from social media, but to have the access to it on our website.
Yeah, Facebook has tentacles that goes out to the world. If you're in our community and we control the community, the conversation stays within the community, which is great. But as a brand new company that has no credibility, that's difficult to do. And so what we did is adopted all social platforms. We're very transparent, very honest, very open company. And so we got nothing to hide. We'll talk with you on Facebook. We'll talk with you on Twitter. Wherever you are is where we will come. And you can come to our site and engage in our blog, do our comments, and a lot of other things. But it's been a constant evolution.
Now that you've gotten a lot larger, I mean, I've never heard of it. How do you plan on reaching become bigger? How do you get even bigger?
Yeah, and it's okay, that you haven't heard of it, right? Because probably not a mom with kids. And so, so that to us is we are not trying to be everything to everybody just yet. We're trying to be something very specific to a very specific audience and niche. Over time, you can tell, we will broaden that out. And so we've always kind of had the discipline to continue to doing what we're doing. What we do that works really well is we participate and we engage in the conversation, right? We are very authentic. We really do what we say we're going to do. Part of what stimulates people to tell people about what we do is the way we do business. The fact that there wasn't a catch. You thought it was going to be a catch. It was half off. It must be a second. There must be something wrong with it. No, it's brand new. It shipped that day, and I didn't get gouged for shipping, and I got it in 2 days. Wow, that compels me to tell somebody else about it. So far, that has been one of our best techniques. Over time, we deploy a lot more internet marketing techniques. But what we decided is that if we could create a sustainable business model that didn't have to pay what we call the Google tax, where you got to buy your traffic, if you could earn your traffic, if you could get the respect and if you could earn the trust of a very core audience that's already passionate about something, then you have a sustainable business. Because if you are requiring on Google or affiliate programs or something else to generate your traffic and you stop paying the bill, you don't have a business anymore. We didn't want that. We knew that game. We were really good at that game working for other companies. We get that, right? What we set out to do is something that didn't have that. That had the fanaticism built in, right?
So basically word of mouth and customer happiness.
Is our most successful manner, and now there's lots of different ways, through SEO and through other mediums. And then Jana really is a a social queen. She's absolutely amazing at bringing like-minded people together and engaging conversation, and has trained our staff to pick up her skills and to continue that on, and all of it just continues to grow and grow. But we grow very naturally. We could have gone out and gotten a couple $100 million in funding by now, right? And we could go full tilt and buy all the media out there. But that's really, and we may someday, right? But what we're doing right now is, you know, it's our way, and we're earning it. We don't take it for granted. We don't take any customer for granted. And every customer who comes to us, we don't lose very many, because we do good business. Everything, you know, it's not shady. It's all up and up. Good product, good service, targeted audience, you know, targeted site. So.
Let's see, the orange, I think, has been up for a while.
So how exactly does Google make money off of it?
They don't. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the question was, how does Google make money off?
Companies that they don't.
Yeah, we actually don't buy advertising, if you can believe it. As of right now, we don't have any recurring bill that if we, you know, shut off Google AdWords or our affiliate program or anything like that, it simply isn't there. It's a great feeling.
All that money went into doing better business, better shipping, better, you know, better photography, better copy,
more customer service.
And we actually make money off of Google because we index quite well with all our content. So we get a lot of free traffic from Google, but we don't pay the Google tax.
There's one up there in the back.
Yep, on the back.
So how do you sell an 80% discount and generate income?
Okay, so the question was, how do we sell at a discount and generate income? So that basically plays into the marketing of what we do. As you can see from our website, these brands are very well highlighted. And you know, Ergo Baby is the brand of the day, and they are in front of that crowd that you saw in that stadium all by themselves. It's not typically e-commerce where there's hundreds of products and hundreds of SKUs, different things to choose from. We're truly marketing it and setting it up on a pedestal in front of a niche audience. And what Rett and I like to call it is a Seth Godin phrase, permission-based marketing. The people that come to our website technically are being marketed to. I mean, we're all being marketed to with everything everywhere nowadays, but they come for a reason every day because they're inspired. And so the brands want to be involved because of that aspect, because it really does make them one of the brands that, you know, all the moms want, if you will. And with She Steals now, especially being a new site, same thing. Wow, if I could just get my product on She Steals, is what I've heard so often. That's one of the number one questions I get. Hey, how do I get my product on She Steals? Because they know if I can just get it up on that e-commerce behemoth in front of all those eyeballs, then something may happen for me. We don't promise that necessarily, but to answer your question directly, we partner with them on this promotion. We do buy the product from them. Part of the game is simple volume, right? We are now one of the biggest accounts for almost every manufacturer that we do business with, simply because our volume is really high. We need a lot so that we don't sell out too fast, which was one of our huge problems in 2010, that it would be 9:02 and sold out. Sorry, you missed it. And it's like, oh man, how do I? Okay, well, I promise, come back tomorrow. We'll have something else. It was kind of an online tap dance to keep people happy when it's like, dude, what's the point? Every time I come here, you're sold out. Because there was more eyeballs than there were products that we could afford to buy. It was a big game. But anyway, yeah, we cut the retail right out of the game. And essentially, we're giving people products at wholesale. So how do we make money doing that? It's simply we buy it for less than we sell it for, obviously. But that is our only mechanism of revenue. There is no other way that we make money. We do not have ads on our site at all. So yeah, it's an interesting game.
We provide more value to a supplier in 12 hours, getting them from a couple 100,000 people, than any other store that sells their product, right? We do it in a unique way, and we do it in a very concentrated way. We create conversation about their product, but nobody wants to be discounted for very long. That's why we do it for just 12 hours, right? It's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. The discipline that is required to turn it off, right? Because if you're selling these like hotcakes, most people would let them sell. Not us. You stop at 9 o'clock no matter what, because what we found that women want more than anything else is what they can't have. So you pull it away, and they're going to come back again, and they're going to want more, right? And that is the equivalent of, of a supplier spending $10,000 in an ad on Parenting Magazine, right? Now, they're not spending money. They're utilizing their product that they already created. Hopefully, they created more to hit the manufacturing minimums, and they lowered the cost of all things. But really, what we invented is the ability to use your product as marketing, because that's the best thing that's going to market anything. Better than an ad, better than anything else is the product itself, but you're going to have to go into detail to tell people what they wouldn't normally see when they walk by it on the store 1,000 times.
Yep.
All right, last question.
Early on when we were starting out, presumably that's happened then more than it does now. How did you manage excess inventory that wasn't sold? Did you try to unload it for full price on eBay or as an Amazon partner or something like that? Or did you put it back into rotation?
All the above. We are very resourceful when it comes to product. We do have full retail storefronts that are on Amazon. So if it doesn't sell at half off, we can sell it at full retail. But it takes a lot longer, right? You're not going to sell as many as you're going to sell in 12 hours. What you could sell in 12 hours might take you 3 months to sell through on Amazon. We also offer free local pickup for anybody in Utah, or anybody usually in the Salt Lake area. And so it's kind of a will call. And that's one of the hindrances, right, with just being able to buy one product is the shipping. And so anybody who lives in the Salt Lake Valley can order all week long, select local pickup, come in a kind of a will call environment. And as they come in to pick up their local pickup, they walk through a boutique full of remnant inventory of things that didn't sell. The other thing that we have, and I'll let you guys in on a little secret, so our fanatical fans, since we're very big on social, if you click this little icon right here, it's like a little Easter egg. You click that, and it takes you to the hidden archive. And that is all of the archive, the steel pages. It's our archive of past steel pages, and some of them have random sizes and colors that are still available. And if you know where that is and you find that product, you can buy that item. But it's not obviously the attention and the focus, because the real value is to the supplier to get a complete takeover for 12 hours. But it's a little extra for those fanatical fans, and usually you find out about it through a friend, and then the friend gets kind of a nice little benefit out of it, and be like, I was the one that told you, and now I'm in the know, and now you're in the know, and everybody wins, and it's a fun way to get rid of excess inventory.
What are your typical margins, like for the carriers?
Across the board. So, you know, it all is an equation, right? Depends on how many, how much, how fast. There's a huge gamut of what we're able to work with.
Thank you.